All right, we are back here on the podcast. It's kind of an annual tradition here on Jest of the Suffering. We're doing the Oscar preview show here, and joining me to break it all down here, our resident film critic, Barstool Sports' own Jon Stanko. You can check out all of his detailed movie thoughts on his blog. Stanko, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike Phillips. It's that time of year, isn't it? Where we're stressing to watch every movie we possibly can. How are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. I feel like I got a lot of cinematic education last week because I had fallen behind because of work. I only watched two going into last week, and now I'm up to seven. So I've done my homework on the best pictures.
It's impressive. We're taping this as of Tuesday night, March 5th, and I've seen eight. I have plans to see all 10. I own all of them. They will be watched and consumed. But some of the best picture nominees you can't really watch on a bus, right? Or on a train. You got to watch them at home. So you got to find the time. So we're making time this week or these past couple weeks, including yourself, Mike.
Yeah, that was also me sneaking in Dune Part 2 and rewatching Dune Part 1. So had a very busy movie week last week.
I'm very jealous you've seen Dune Part 2. I had a wedding this past weekend in Chicago, so was unable to make the time to go see it. Emma and I are going to go see it this Saturday evening. Going to happen. Trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible on the internet. It gets harder as the week goes on because more people are comfortable just throwing their thoughts out there. But you've said it was great. Everyone has said it was great. No one's really had a bad time that I've heard of. So I'm very, very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll say on that front, I'm not going to spoil anything I say here. Is like once you see the movie, you'll understand all the Javier Bardem memes that are all over Twitter.
I mean, I love Javier Bardem anyway, so I don't. You don't need an excuse to put him in front of my screen.
Yeah, you'll understand the context of the memes though when you see the movie.
Okay, all right, understood.
Yeah, because that's been a big thing on Twitter this week is all the Javier Bardem memes from Doom, which is obviously a big deal. But let's get to
Ilgar.
yeah, Silgar. And speaking of these movies here, Doom would have probably been in this list if it had been nominated if it actually came out last year. Got pushed back because of the writer's strike here. But general thoughts on these nominations we got this year.
So no thoughts on the nominations is I don't think there were a ton of surprises. I think it was kind of chalky. Now, granted, I haven't seen every movie that's come out. I don't go to all the festivals and stuff like that. But in terms of the podcast that I listen to and the conversations that I overhear and stuff like that, I think for the most part, I think these nominations are right. I do think there are a few snubs here and there, but there always are. But I think frankly, this kind of Oscar race has been a little bit of chalk. And that started with the nominations. And then as you're progressing through to the award ceremony this upcoming Sunday, I think we know where a lot of the major categories are going to go. There's only a couple that are up for grabs.
Yeah, that's for sure here. And two things on the snub front I want to note here is number one, your take on the controversy with Barbie being nominated for Best Picture, but Greta Gerwig getting shut out of Best Director and Margot Robbie getting shut out of Best Actress.
I'm more upset about Margot Robbie getting shut out for Best Actress, mainly because America Ferrera got nominated for Best Supporting Actress, which I think is just an absolute catastrophe. That was just I saw that on the stream when the nominations were announced, and I almost fell out of my chair because I thought she was probably honestly the worst part of the movie besides Will Ferrell and the Mattel stuff. I really didn't like her performance. Her Oscar moment is the speech, which was maybe my least favorite part of the movie. So I was shocked. And the fact that Margot Robbie didn't, and Margot Robbie's character actually goes through a change and you see her kind of adapt and grow with different scenarios, and she has to show all that change while still pretending to be the Barbie pretty smiling all the time. Like, I don't know. That was a huge miss for me in terms of the Oscar nominations. In terms of Greta Gerwig being nominated for director, I'm not that super duper upset about it. I think Barbie was good. I don't think it was great. I think Ryan Gosling, you could take it or leave it in terms of being nominated for Best Supporting Actor too. So I think Barbie was a great entertainment festival. I don't think it was critically the best thing I've ever seen ever. So I wasn't super duper upset about the Greta Gerwig front, but I was upset about the Margot Robbie front.
Yeah, I think the Barbie thing I'll point out here, I feel like this is sort of a thing where the Academy said, hey, Barbenheimer is the biggest thing this year, and they were both good movies. So let's just get
Right.
on the board as we get people to actually watch the ceremony, even though Barbie's not going to win much.
Right. That's what they did at the Golden Globes too, in terms of like the best performance in and the critical and box office success. They got the Barbie people on the stage with that award at the Golden Globes. So they get Margot Robbie there, they get them wearing pink, and they get all that stuff. And it was nominated for some technical awards, and rightfully so. I think the production design is absolutely great. We're gonna see Ken Ryan Gosling sing at the Academy Awards too, nominated for Best Two Original Songs. So like you're gonna get Barbie at the Academy Awards. They're gonna put it in front of you, but it's not gonna take any wins home. I don't think. Maybe adapted screenplay, but no, it's not. It's not gonna take home adapted screenplay. What am I talking about? It's going up against absolute juggernauts. So you're gonna get your Pink, you're gonna get your Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie, but listen, you gotta hands off a little bit. I think people fell in love with the box office and the culture phenomenon, but it's by far not one of the best movies of 2023 heading into this Oscars on Sunday.
Yeah, I think the most likely award it's going to get is costume design. I feel like it's the most likely to get of all the awards stuff for.
I think best original song. I think it's not going to pass up the opportunity to have best original song performed and then won by this movie, especially with this musical. I mean, frankly, it was a musical at parts, so celebrate that part of the movie.
Yeah, they got two songs nominated too for best original song, so they have a 40% chance to take an award home.
Yeah, and I think they're going to take it home. I don't think they're going to get. I don't think the Ken song. I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my
I'm
head.
I'm just Ken.
I'm just Ken. Now, I think that sequence in the movie is absolutely hilarious at the end. I love it. It ties back to the whole patriarchy, him looking on the wall and being John Travolta. Love that bit. But I do think the song that is actually going to win is What Was I Made For, Billie Eilish. Which, is this going to be her second Oscar win for No Time to Die? Did she also win Best Original Song for that as well?
I believe she did.
Okay. So that would be two Oscar wins for Eilish in a span of 3 years. That's pretty freaking incredible.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. And my notable snub that goes to the technical category. How did we have Oppenheimer recreate a atomic bomb and not get put up for best visual effects?
Well, I think part of Nolan's thing is that he has everything practical, right? So it's like he doesn't rely on visual effects to tell a story. So I think that's part of the reason why. I think that's part of the marketing of the movie and the way that Nolan makes movies. He's like, I don't rely on visual effects. I block all this out and do as much practical as possible. Now, granted, there's still a lot of visual effects and touching up that happens and stuff like that, but I was I surprised it wasn't nominated? Yes. Was I utterly shocked? No. Is that fair to say?
That's very safe. I think that's my biggest complaint of the whole thing. It's like the Greta, I think the Margot Robbie. I agree with you, and I agree. I think Oppenheimer not getting visual effects nom. I don't think it was going to win, but they should have been in the category.
Yeah, I got one other snub for you. I don't know if have you seen the movie Past Lives?
Yes.
I adored that movie. I that's probably my favorite original screenplay of the year. Celine Song's debut, writing and directing feature film, incredible. And Greta Lee as the lead performance in that movie, I thought was remarkable. I thought every performance in that movie was remarkable. But I really wish that Greta Lee was nominated for Best Actress. I was kind of shocked that Annette Bening got nominated for Nyad. Good movie, feel good type of movie. I thought Jodie Foster was better than Annette Bening. Um, so I would have liked to have swapped them out. I would have liked to had Greta Lee in there, fresh face, new to Hollywood, kind of indie movie, get her shine as a nominee here where she's not going to win, but still give her that kind of pub and lift her up a little bit rather than Annette Bening. So I wish that Greta Lee was nominated for Best Actress.
All right, let's start going down some of these categories here that we're gonna break down here. So quickly on the technical categories, which ones jump out to you as your the ones that interest you?
I think best production design is the one that sticks out to me here. Just because you look at these movies, Barbie, obviously with Barbie Land and stuff like that, they had to create all that. That's crazy. Killers of the Flower Moon, for a movie that I thought was good, not that great. There's no denying that it's beautiful, and the stages and the sets they built for that were pretty remarkable, and the starch colors that they had in the different environments. Napoleon, Ridley Scott, maybe he doesn't care so much about story and characters anymore, but damn, he knows how to make things look absolutely stunning. So Napoleon, I thought I'm glad it got as many nominations as it did. I think it got three, which surprised me, but not upset about it at all for a movie that definitely has its faults, but is very entertaining. And then you got the two powerhouses. You got Oppenheimer and Poor Things, who are going to be battling it out in terms of trying to get the most Academy Awards. So I think production design has a lot of great contenders. I think all the movies are great in their own sense, especially within this category. So production design one that when I saw the nominations come out, I was like, I get it. I get all these. These all make sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's probably the most compelling of the technical categories here. Animated film, I want to go through real quick because obviously I've seen you saw Spider Verse. You love Spider Verse. I feel like the general buzz would be the general always want Spider Verse to win. Do you think it will win? You think somebody upsets it?
I think the Boy and the Heron's going to win. I don't think Spider Verse is going to win Across the Spider Verse, and that's going to be a damn shame because, whoo, dude, I loved Across the Spider Verse. I loved it way more than I thought I would. But I think the Boy and the Heron kind of has that underlying tone where it was on the National Board of Review's top 10 films of the year. It's collecting awards where it's going through all the different Critics' Choice Awards and stuff like that. So I do think that The Boy and the Heron is going to take it away, and the audience is going to be upset about it. I hope not. I hope Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse takes home the prize, but I gotta wait to see The Boy and the Heron. I didn't have the chance when it was in theaters. Gonna watch it eventually when it comes out streaming, but woof, tough two. This is one where there's two on the top tier, right? The Boy and the Heron and Across the Spider Verse, and then there's a severe drop off for the other three.
Yeah. I feel like this would be one where, again, like if Spider Verse doesn't win, regardless of how good the Boy and the Heron is, I think you get a lot of the general population outcry of, oh, like they don't pick movies that we like. They just pick movies that are like snobby movies.
Yeah, but Miyazaki is a world renowned animated director. He's one of the best to ever do it
Yeah.
ever. So it's like you can't say that this movie is not popular because you go to Japan, like this guy has an amusement park if I remember correctly. He built an amusement park. I think it's just out of trees. Like he has a whole universe of people dedicated to him. Now, just because it's not in the United States, that doesn't mean it's not immensely internationally popular. I'd be willing to bet that Miyazaki is more popular than Spider-Man if you pulled the entire world, especially over in Asia. So it's like you can't have that argument when these two films are against one another.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to the screenplay categories. Original screenplay, Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, one of its only nominations in Past Lives. Adapted screenplay, American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. Which one do you want to go to first?
Let's do original screenplay first. That was the one you mentioned first.
Yeah, so original screenplay of these five, I've seen four of them, and I did not see May, December. So, like, of these four, what do you think?
Gonna be honest, my top two, Past Lives, number one, absolutely love it. That ending of Past Lives, the way that's written, the way it's decided to be shot, the the use of silence, the acting in that final scene, everything about that movie is written so well, and then with a perfect period at the end, just absolutely perfect. So that's my favorite. And then May December, maybe not the best movie, Mike, but I can promise you that after watching this movie, you will be thinking about it and you'll be dissecting in your head going, was this a comedy? Was this a drama? Was this a thriller? I don't know what this was. Who am I supposed to empathize with? What character was making fun of what other character? Oh my God, what's happening? So it's like, and then Charles Melton didn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think he was definitely worthy of a role for this one because it's based off a crazy, crazy true story. So definitely check out May December. I think it's quite good. Probably my second favorite amongst this list. Maestro, uh, it's not nominated for its screenplay in terms of its praise for me. It's visually stunning. It's acted very well, but not for me in terms of screenplay. The Holdovers I thought was very, very funny, but it didn't like absolutely punch me in the gut. And Anatomy of the Fall, I think you just watched this one too. Very well written in terms of like the court scenes and stuff like that. Love how it just throws you into the court system. Is like we're not explaining the jury or the way this is done. You're just gonna have to live with it and experience it. But I thought a tad bit on the nose with the son being blind and the idea of justice being blind. So I didn't love how kind of that symbolism was. It's just a tad bit on the nose.
Yeah, I feel like if there's a category for past lives to get, I think this is probably the one.
I would love it. I would love it. I don't know. I think the Holdovers has a possibility in this one as well because I don't think that Paul Giamatti is going to get the win in Best Actor over Cillian Murphy. Sorry, skipping forward a little bit. So I don't know. I'd be very curious. I can tell you for sure what I don't think is winning. Maestro's not going to win. That's the only one I'm for sure like, not going to happen. I would be stunned if Maestro won.
Yeah. I mean, adapted screenplay, I'll defer to you. I've only seen two of the five so far, the Barbenheimer duo.
Well, to be fair, I've only seen three. I'm waiting on Poor Things and Zone of Interest. Again, Poor Things, a ton of nominations. Tony McNamara writing that. Zone of Interest is interesting to me because the way it was shot was very documentary style, and the setting of the film was incredibly interesting. So very curious to see how a film that's very quiet, pardon me, very quiet and understated on purpose. How the screenplay kind of shows the emotional moments and how it rises them up. So very curious to watch that movie. I've heard that people cry during it all the time. But this is Oppenheimer's to lose, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, sorry, Barbie. If Barbie was an original screenplay, I think it'd have a fighting chance. I think maybe it'd win a few rounds. But this is an Oppenheimer knockout. I loved American Fiction. I thought it was great. But there are two stories in American Fiction, and one is way better than the other. Everything about Oppenheimer works. And frankly, there's like three different type of movie screenplays in Oppenheimer. The way that Christopher Nolan wrote this movie. And the third act is just a courtroom drama, which who in God's green earth knew that Christopher Nolan had to freaking adapt a screenplay and write an outstanding courtroom drama for the last hour? Like, it's remarkable stuff. So I think Oppenheimer is taking this category, and I'd be shocked if it was anyone else.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely gonna be the Oppenheimer Oscars, like sort of last year where it was like everything everywhere all at
Yeah,
once was nominated for everything, and it was like he's either gonna win everything or gonna be some surprises here. I feel like
it
this is
won
the same
everything.
kind of deal because with all the lead up awards and everything, so Oppenheimer's been cleaning up.
Yeah, it has been cleaning up, and rightfully so. That's why I said at the start of this podcast, like, I love the Oscars, but let's be real. There's not a ton of intrigue going into it because it's kind of chalky, and you're kind of know who's going to win all the major awards. So it's not a bad thing. Oppenheimer's great. It's worth it. It's a juggernaut. It's a train that is steamrolling everyone in front of it, and it's outstanding. It's on Peacock now. Everyone should go watch it. Nolan finally going to get his due. Very curious what he's going to see after doing this, but we'll find out Sunday night. But man, oh man, the writing in Oppenheimer is by far the best thing no one's ever written, and I don't think it's hands down, without a doubt, undebatable.
Yep. Let's now going into some of the bigger categories. Supporting actor here: Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction; De Niro from Killers of the Flower Moon; RDJ in Oppenheimer; Gosling, and as you mentioned before, in Barbie; Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things here. This feels like to me RDJ's like to lose by a mile.
Oh yeah, this is cash it. This was betting odds on it minus 20,000. Absolutely no way he doesn't win this award. One, he deserves it. Very, very, very good. I will say I was really impressed with Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction. That character took me by surprise when he jumped off the screen at me, and I was like, "Oh snap!" And every time he's on the screen, it's an emotional scene for the movie. It has a huge impact. But Robert Downey Jr. also, they want to have him win because they want to hear his speech. Every speech that he's given on this award circuit has gone at least semi-viral, at least during like with the movie people. It's been quotable. So this man who was locked into Marvel was a world-renowned actor beforehand, very talented, dealt with some demons, got reinvigorated by Marvel, was stuck in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for God knows how long, 2 decades almost. Now breaks out with this role and is going to win an Oscar. Awesome, awesome story, and he's going to tell a great story in his speech, which I mean, God, I hope he wins, which I definitely think is going to. Maybe his only competition is Mark Ruffalo and Poor Things. I don't think Ryan Gosling is going to win this award. Sorry, I don't think there's a shot. Frankly, he probably wouldn't be on my ballot at this point in time. This is Robert Downey Jr.'s to lose.
Yep. Supporting actors is interesting as well here. Nominees you got here: Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer; Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple. He's the only nomination that film got. America Ferrera, you mentioned earlier, is in Barbie; Jodie Foster in Nyad; and Davine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers here, who like she would be my pick if I was giving the award out.
And speak to me about that because I watched the holdovers. I liked it a lot. She didn't jump off the screen for me. Like, her performance didn't grab me, and like people absolutely love it, and I feel like I'm missing something. So, what about it really spoke to you?
I feel like the layers of situation, because obviously her character in the movie, she's dealing with the fact that her son recently died, and she's staying behind at the school to basically cook for all the holdover kids, and sort of see her come out of her shell a little bit as she's forming this relationship with Paul Giamatti's character and the kid who's there. And I think like seeing the different layers that she's able to bring out, like trying to overcome like this tragedy she's had while she's basically forming this new sort of like semi like school work related family, I think was definitely a fun performance to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's probably worthy of being nominated. I think she's on my own personal nominations, but for me, she wasn't the breakout performance of the movie, which many people are saying it is. So it was a very good movie. I think her playing kind of she lost a child, right? And now she's playing the mom to these two child behaving men. One's in school and one's just a perpetually grown man who's grumpy and she's being the parent to them. I get that kind of story thing. The breakdown in the house is incredibly emotional, and I get that. But for me, Divine, like I think she's probably second on this list just because I think this is one of the weaker categories. America Ferrera, I already spoke on that. No, thank you. Absolutely not. Jodie Foster for Naiad, really fun performance for Jodie Foster. She's happy in that movie, Mike. She usually is nominated for performances or recognized for performances where she's miserable, she's not smiling, or she's scared, or she's stressed. This time around, she gets to smile and be an encouraging coach. And then The Color Purple, not a great movie, but if you were to choose one highlight from the movie, it would be Danielle Brooks. So she gets shine here. For me, this is between Blunt and Joy Randolph. I do agree with you that Joy Randolph is going to win, but I'd still personally vote Blunt.
All right, let's go to Best Actor here, which is I've seen a couple of these. I've seen Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Colin Domingo in Rustin. I didn't see Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright I'm going to see soon in American Fiction here. This is the Cillian Murphy Award to lose, it seems like here. I feel like any other year, Paul Giamatti had a shot at it.
Well, some people think Paul Giamatti has a chance here to make up for Sideways, which is possible. It may be. I'd be very shocked if it happened. Same director. People loved Sideways and Paul Giamatti. Was he not? I don't even think he was nominated. I'd have to double check that, but he didn't win. So, but again, this is Cillian Murphy's to lose. The beautiful boy finally gets a leading role, and man, oh man, he knocked it out of the park. I think Bradley Cooper is still going to be looking for that Oscar. I think he's been nominated like 12 times. Bradley Cooper is going to be has been nominated for 12 total Oscars, and I'm
Yep.
not sure he's going to win anything in come Sunday night, and he's not going to win this award here. So between his acting and producing and directing and stuff like that, he's still going to be freaking hungry for one. So I don't know if that mania is going to drive Cooper to do even more passion projects or if he's going to try and shoot something completely different. I don't know. But you mentioned that you love Jeffrey Wright, and man, he's great in American Fiction. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that after you see it.
All right. The award race
And
is
you
definitely.
could skip Rustin. You could, by the way, skip Rustin. Coleman Domingo, fine. It's a very, very performative performance. And I know that's using a word twice, but that movie has a lot of speeches and sets Domingo up to just give soliloquies. It's very Shakespearean in the way he uplifts people and deals with drama and et cetera, et cetera. So not the type of performance that I love because it's set up for him to succeed, if you will.
Yep. Now, I think the closest race of the major ones here, the best actors, according to the odds books here, Annette Bening and Naiad, Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller in Anatomy of the Fall, Carey Mulligan from Maestro, Emma Stone from Poor Things. And obviously, it feels like right now this is a very tight race between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone for this award.
Yeah, this is one where I have to put my hands up because I haven't seen Poor Things yet. So I can't speak to this race. I can speak to the performances that I've seen, but this is between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. Are they going to give it to Stone and crown her as one of the best actresses in Hollywood history already at such a young career? Or are they going to give it to Lily Gladstone from out of nowhere and maybe the only award that Killers of the Flower Moon will win? So I'm very, very curious where this is going to go. Um, what did you think of Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon?
I thought she was the best part of that movie.
I think she was very, very good in it. I do think Robert De Niro was very good as well. I do think Lily Gladstone, frankly, acted Leonardo DiCaprio off the table.
Yeah.
I didn't think Leo was that great. I don't know. I personally didn't love it. So I think it'd be cool to see Lily Gladstone win. I think that's kind of where my heart's at, but I haven't seen Poor Things yet. So I'm sorry, folks listening. This is one where I can't give a full-fledged opinion because I don't know all the variables.
Yeah, so check out Stanko's blog after he sees Four Things for his updated opinion on the race.
Yeah, you got to write about a bunch of stuff. I still got to write about Anatomy of the Fall too. I'm gonna be writing about Oscar movies until May
Yeah.
when I eventually catch up with writing about all of them.
All right, so now here we go. Best director here. Justine Triet from Anatomy of the Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest here. So interesting group here, but again, this is a heavy Nolan favorite spot.
I mean, sorry, everyone else. I know you want to attend. You can get the fancy food. You can walk the red carpet, get the drinks, listen to the speeches. But Christopher Nolan's the only one who needs to be prepping one at this moment in time.
Yeah. It's an honor
So,
to be nominated.
yeah, it's an honor to be nominated. Great. I'm very, very happy for you.
Yeah.
And there's some first time nominees here, which is excellent. Very, very happy to see that. But this is Christopher Nolan's. Sorry.
Yeah. And I feel like if he doesn't get one here, he's not getting one for a while because I feel like this is the movie that he should get it for.
Yeah, he should get it for it. And again, Oppenheimer is a freight train. It is just absolutely steamrolling everyone in front of it. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It is blowing bubbles when it's just swimming by everyone, and it's leaving everyone in its wake.
Yeah, and last not least on the award front here, Best Picture here, the 10 American Fiction, Now of the Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest here. So we both think Oppenheimer is going to win. So we're not going to waste our time on this one here, but give me the power ranking of the rest of them. Where would you put them after assuming Oppenheimer is one on your list?
Yes, let me vamp for a few seconds as I pull down my personal Oscar nominations list, which I publish every Sunday on my blog at stankostance.com. Sorry for the plug as I vamp. Here's what I got. So Oppenheimer's gonna win. Honestly, and true to my heart self, I do think that my second favorite film of this year, in terms of both watching it and critically, it might be Past Lives. I love Past Lives. I can't stop thinking about the ending of Past Lives. It sticks with me. The ending is perfect, Mike. It is just perfect. So that might be number two for me. Number three, probably going to be American Fiction from what I've seen thus far. I loved American Fiction, was shocked with how funny it was, and how insightful it was. And Jeffrey Wright was great. Loved every bit about it. Number four of the things that I have seen probably would go. See, this is going to make people angry, but it'd probably be Maestro.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Maestro is going to win anything, Mike, but Maestro, when I watch that movie, it's impossible not to get enveloped in it when you watch it the first time. Now, thinking back on it, you can be like, the story maybe a little interesting. Harry Mulligan kind of doing a lot of reacting and not proactive stuff as a character. Screenplay, not the tightest thing in the world, but the movie looks stunning, and there's no denying that Bradley Cooper is great, and it sounds incredible. So Maestro, from an emotional standpoint, it got me. So that's probably number four. And then number five, I would probably go. It's 5A, 5B between Anatomy of the Fall and The Holdovers. One is a happy-go-lucky movie, which you'll maybe watch every Christmas and find some moral lessons in. And Anatomy of the Fall is who can you trust? Nobody really knows. Did she murder him? But the editing in Anatomy of the Fall really sticks with me, as well as the way it approaches courtroom scenes. So those are probably my top five.
All right, so I'll give you my top five here. Obviously, Oppenheimer's number one here. I actually have the Holdovers number two on my list. That one just spoke.
Really?
Yes. I felt like there are good performances in it. I felt like this is a movie that grabbed me and sort of held on to me, which is a big point when I look at with these movies where it's like you keep me invested where I'm not tempted to go to the phone or, start multitasking. Like you have me, that gets the points. So that's number two for me. Killers, I put three on my list.
Okay.
I like Killers. I thought it was a very good movie. I thought it was, some great performances in it here. I had Past Lives at four. I had Maestro at five.
Okay. I'm curious with Killers of the Flower Moon, because this is the one I watched most recently. The tone, okay, the tone of Killers of the Flower Moon perplexes me.
Yes.
The fact that we know from the get-go that something is off with King and Robert De Niro's character, and he's kind of controlling everything behind the scenes, puppeteering it. There was no mystery to me. There was what is propelling the plot forward is just the failure of Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Lily Gladstone falling sick and all that stuff. But I kind of wanted a little bit of mystery in it. And there was none because we knew how everything was unfolding in that moment in time. So I was slightly confused about that vibe and that choice. I don't know if you could speak on that, but that was one of the thoughts about Kills of the Flower Moon that I'm working with in my head.
Yeah, for me, the thing that I saw with that movie is sort of seeing obviously the whole situation when they're trying to get the land grab for the oil rights, where DiCaprio is basically marrying Lily Gladstone's character, and they're gonna kill her entire family off so they get the land rights. And like like obviously it was not great performance by DiCaprio, but the idea where he sort of conflicted, like I love my wife, but I'm in debt to my uncle.
Yeah.
Like that's compelling arguing here. Plus, like the whole situation where like Lily Gladstone's character basically trying to like put together like my family's all dying here. Something is wrong with this, and like I have to go around like whatever stronghold that King has built here, try and get justice for them.
Yeah, I get it. I don't think I liked it.
Yeah,
I think this is just a subjective thing,
yeah,
sort
that's
of
fair.
thing. Also, and like the last third of the movie, Jesse Plemons comes in with the FBI. For a movie that's 3.5 hours long, I thought they rushed the kind of third act with the FBI and the court stuff.
Yeah,
So I think I'm just perplexed by the pace, which is why I didn't love its screenplay. And which is why I wouldn't give it to Scorsese for directing either. So I think it was a very good movie. There's no denying it. It looks beautiful. It has great performances. And like Scorsese's, like even a movie if it's not is S tier is still very good. But for me, it's Killers of the Flower Moon left me slightly disappointed. I don't know. So
yeah,
I'm working with that. As you can see, I'm emotionally just word vomiting to you as it's the most recent one I've seen.
yeah. Because for me, I think it was designed to be Oscar bait with all the performances and whatnot, and like for you, it just didn't hit enough of the notes that you need to get those like performances, especially in this kind of year. You have to beat a powerhouse like Oppenheimer.
Yeah, so I maybe I gotta watch it again. Emma wants to see it. Maybe I'll watch it again and get a different perspective on it. But I don't know. It's one of those things. Again, this movies are subjective. It's okay to like different things and have different opinions about it. God knows I wasn't the biggest fan of Everything Everywhere All at Once last year. I didn't like it, but guess what? It won everything anyway. The Academy didn't give two shits about Jonathan Stanko, so it can go do whatever it wants. So enjoy the movies you like.
Yeah, and there's no Coda coming this year here. We're not echoing
No.
from 2022 where I guys called on the podcast that Coda's going to steal Best Picture and stealing because in a relatively weak year for Best Picture field.
It was. Coda still made me cry. I mean,
Yeah,
people are gonna forget about Coda maybe in a few years, but God, the end of Coda. Woo.
yeah. The waterworks are flowing.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's wrap up your two things. Number one, you're the movie guy here. So, what movie are you looking forward to the next couple of months before we catch up with you for summer movies?
The only thing I'm looking forward to is Dune Part Two. That's the honest answer, Mike. I'm sorry. It's just the only thing I'm looking forward to is Dune Part Two, watching that and seeing and finally establishing my own opinion about it because everyone said only good things. So that's really the only thing on that on the rise. Honest answer, Mike, is I've been so focused on the Oscar race stuff that I've been just watching everything that's been nominated. Once the Oscars are done, I'm going to go watch back all the short films that are nominated too for some snack size viewing experiences. So it's Dune Part Two. That's kicking off this year. Going to make a crap ton of money, and a movie that's coming out in March of 2024 is going to be nominated possibly for at least 8 Oscars come next March when eventually it comes back around full circle with the next cycle. So Dune Part Two is the only thing I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fair. Because I mean, like honestly, like if you had gone to see Doom Part Two, you would have gotten all the trailer stuff coming next few months.
Right.
So I've got opinions on stuff that I saw here. So I will say Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is the only thing of recent. It's like, okay, I might go see this.
That trailer looked bad. That trailer didn't look good at all. Like I don't know. The first trailer with the ice getting onto the beach and stuff like that, that didn't look good to me at all.
Yeah. That's the only one that really grabbed me. Look at some of the other stuff here. Godzilla, like X Kong, the new Empire. I saw that trailer and that was literally, I was thinking, my buddies were like, why was this made?
I'll watch it. I'll watch it on Max when it comes out on streaming 2 months after it's in theaters. I'll probably have an okay time watching giant things destroy other giant things, but I'm not going to waste my money for a movie theater to see that, and I'm not going to waste a breath thinking about what like. Sorry, I'll watch that on streaming. Come months from now.
Yeah. And King of the Planet of the Apes is the other one that sort of like, didn't realize this was happening. I was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's interesting. That trilogy that came out, James Franco was in the first one, Woody Harrelson's in the one following that. People love that trilogy. For me, it didn't jump off the screen for me in terms of it being like one of the most unheralded trilogies of all time. And there are some people who defend it and say like those three movies together is one of the most underrated trilogies in the past 2 decades or the past recent movie history. For me, it doesn't ring true for that. So I don't know why they're making another one. Again, I'm going to watch it because I do think the visual effects from that movie will get nominated come next year's Oscars because the other films have gotten recognized for that as well. So I'm excited for it, but not in terms of a jump out of my seat like a Dune Part 2 excitement. I'm excited to see it eventually if I have free time, if that makes sense. That's the kind of approach that I'm coming to that one.
Yeah, and obviously neither of us are going to do the Madam Web experience.
No, but I will do it on streaming when it comes out because I mean, you have to watch this beautiful disaster, right? Yeah, that's why you had to watch Morbius, so you knew what it was, even if it was bad. You just have to see it to know what everyone else is talking about. Also, to be fair, it has beautiful women in it, and we are men, and this is life. Sydney Sweeney's in it, and I love Dakota Johnson. I think hot take, Dakota Johnson, prettier than Sydney Sweeney. So I'm very excited to watch it at home, cozy, as a second background viewing experience.
Yeah, and to be fair to the people in that movie, they seem to be in on the joke that nobody watched it. Unlike last year with Morbius, where like they said, "Oh, people are into this." They put it back in theaters and it bombed. That's not going to happen with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Sydney Sweeney kind of make fun of it in her SNL sketch, SNL monologue?
Yeah, she said, "You see me in anything but you. You see me in Euphoria. You definitely did not see me in Madam Web."
Right. So she's in on the joke. It's fine. The movie made absolutely no money. It was a dead project, but they had to put it out in theaters to try and get something back. If they could, they wish they could have eaten the bullet, but there's no way they could.
Yeah, they could. They to think that that got out and the Coyote versus Acme thing did not. It just shows you what the state of the movie industry is.
That's true. I do have one other movie I'm excited about actually. So while we're still talking about movies that are upcoming, I believe it's called The Bike Riders. Let me look up this title of it. Yes, The Bike Riders.
Yeah.
Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer. Love all three of them. And this movie looks like it's just made for Tom Hardy to be a grizzled motorcycle guy talking under his breath, muttering orders quietly. Austin Butler looks sexy as all hell, smoking cigarettes, playing pool in bars. And Jodie Comer is one of the best actors that we have going right now. Loved her in The Last Duel. And now she has a chance to play a similar part where she has to kind of work with a male character who's going through some emotional experiences and try and tell a true story based off what she experienced secondhand. So I'm very, very excited for this movie. It comes out during the summer. I think it's in June. So this is one of the ones I'm most excited about for this upcoming year. A new trailer dropped last week. That's why it just popped into my head.
Yeah, all the way on Rebel Moon Part Two, the Scargiver.
No, I'm not. Sorry. There was a report that there's going to be a 6-hour Snyder cut of the two movies combined when this movie releases. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah,
What are we talking about?
yeah. I believe the correct parlance would be something more in the lines of the great Vince Lombardi.
Right. Sorry, the movie's gonna stink. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna hate watch it.
Yeah,
That's what's gonna happen.
yeah. We'll probably watch it and trash it on Sky like we did Part One.
Right. Oh, and there's another one. Another trailer just came out that I just dropped. Horizon, an American Saga. Kevin Costner's Western epic that comes out in 2 parts in a theatrical experience. That who asked for a 2-part, probably 5-hour total Western experience? I love Kevin Costner, Hollywood icon, made a lot of good movies. He loves westerns. He freaking loves them, Mike Phillips. And I I hope that he's right, but I don't know if America wants to go watch a Western epic that takes place both pre, during, and post Civil War about expansion into the West.
I'm gonna put a
I don't
note.
know.
I'm gonna put a note down this one when we do the summer movie preview because Part One and Part Two are coming out in the summer.
Right. If part one's a bomb, they still gotta put out part two. Like, very, very, very curious what this is gonna be like. I read something, I don't know if this is entirely true, but like it was something Kevin Costner like mortgaged and sold his own property to get funding for this movie. It's ballooned to over like $400 million. And it's probably gonna look great because it's got Western expanses and there's the shadows of the sun setting on the horizon. It's gonna be all that stuff, but how is this story going to be different from other westerns, and how is it going to garner the American interest to have both part one and part two be like have people in seats? Is this going to be a Dances with Wolves where it's going to be critically acclaimed, but then you look back decades after the fact, who wants to sit down and watch 4 hours of just conversations in the wilderness and like not a ton of excitement happening? It's going to look great. It's probably going to sound great with a great soundtrack, but audiences have changed. I'm not sure Kevin Costner has. So I'm very, very curious to see how that one's going to play out.
This feels like Costner's play for Oscar bait.
Yes, absolutely. And he's done it before. Like it happens. Like, and it's worked. It's worked for him with Dances with Wolves. He's trying to replay it again here. I don't know if society and the Academy are going to be as eager to eat it all up.
Yeah, I'm checking here. According to Wikipedia, $100 million budget for both parts of the movie. So,
okay, so $200 million. So still, but some of that money was Kevin Costner's.
$100 million combined for both movies.
Oh, okay. Wait, that's not what I thought. All right, hand up. I was wrong. I'm wrong. Not everything I read is right. So, but still, what is this movie going to do for the American public?
Yeah, we'll definitely check back on this in a few months here. But last thing here, anything you're streaming besides the movies you want to let people know about?
You know what? I got two things for you here.
Okay.
One, this is a quick one. I just watched Shrek again. Shrek's incredible. If you haven't seen Shrek, watch Shrek. It's still as good the first time you saw it. It's still good the fifth time you saw it. Shrek is still great. Wherever it's streaming, watch it.
Yep.
Second one, this is an Amazon Prime recommendation. And I'm asking people to go black and white. I'm asking people to go back to the 1950s. I'm asking people to put their trust in the supremely talented hands and eyes and mind of Stanley Kubrick. 1956, a movie called The Killing. Now, your viewers are probably turning off the podcast because they don't want to hear about a 1956 movie by Stanley Kubrick that's in black and white. But let me tell you, this movie it's less than 90 minutes. It's a heist movie about robbing a racetrack. And Stanley Kubrick is it's early in his career, and he's still putting his giant schlong on the table and saying, look at me now, because I'm freaking talented. And it's unbelievable. I loved it. It's a genre definer. Quentin Tarantino says it's one of his most inspirational movies. It was an inspiration for him to work on Reservoir Dogs. There are things that happen in The Killing that are copied in movies that happen now. Like, for instance, this is not a spoiler, but in The Killing, there's a thing about a shotgun being put into a case of flowers, and then it's carried into a public place. You know what else put a shotgun into a box that was then carried into a public place? Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a direct recognition of its homage to The Killing, made by Stanley Kubrick in 1956. This movie is a genre definer, and it's so, so good. And I'm telling everyone about it, so hopefully they watch it. So that's my real recommendation. 1956, The Killing on Amazon Prime. It's like 88 minutes. It's not that long, and I promise you you'll have a good time.
All right. I'll throw a couple of modern picks out for the audience here.
What? They don't want to watch 1956 movies, Mike? Come on.
I don't think the audience is as cultured as you are.
All
right. I'll throw three things out that I'm checking out in the streaming world right now here. Number one, I am working my way through the Avatar live action remake on Netflix right now. So
Emma's watching it. Huge Avatar fan.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I feel like everybody wants to bash it. I think there are things that don't work for it. I think there's a lot that does work. There are some good performances in it. I think some of the action scenes are really cool. I think them trying to take the story in different directions is good. I think the dialogue is clunky at points. I think that's my biggest issue.
Yeah, Emma has now subjected to a background show because it was too painful to watch just kind of full bore. She said the first episode was the worst one, and it's gotten like once you get past the first episode, it gets a little bit better. But she hates the version of Katara that is in the show. That's kind of the main thing that I keep on saying, that I keep on hearing her say. So she's not the biggest fan in the world, but she's going to finish it.
I think Katara is hamstrung by poor writing.
Maybe I haven't seen it. I've seen the animated series and I like it. I don't love it. But this is at the point now where Emma is watching. So she watched the animated show to get ready for the live action. And now she's watching the live action episodes and then rewatching the animated episodes that the live action show just did. Yeah. So that's Emma's viewing process of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Like I say, I think it's fine. I think that obviously they're gonna get picked up because they were watching. Everybody's watched this thing. It's like the number one on Netflix since it came out. So they're gonna probably, from what I hear, they're probably gonna do the pickup of 2 and 3 back to back and just shoot them back to back, which I think they need to do. But like, go to the writers' room and not be as clunky. Like, I mean, there's one point where I think like they have, I think Gran like repeat the original narration as just a line of dialogue, the intro from the anime series. I'm like, that guys, come on, like you can do better than that.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing of who's it made for. Is it made for people new to experience it for the first time who never saw the animated show? And that way it's for kids, so you kind of need to keep it a little bit not as in depth, if you will, or not as layered. Or is it made for people who saw the animated show and love it and want to experience it in a different way? And maybe they're trying to blend that, and that's where it gets clunky.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. They're trying to serve too many people right now instead of just making it the best thing they possibly can.
Right. Make a confident decision one way or the other. Don't try and serve too many masses.
Yeah, that's number one. Number two, Shogun. Have you gotten to this yet?
No, but I've heard great things. Ken Jack, who works at Barstool, the movie guy at Barstool, he absolutely loves it. He raves about it.
It's great. I watched the first two episodes. The third one's on Hulu today. I'm gonna probably watch it some point shortly after I'm done with you. But like, this show is phenomenal. The acting is great. The set pieces are great. The time it gives you the feel, the time period. It's authentic. Like, I was listening to the follow-up podcast here. It would talk about like they write the script and basically translate like 5 different ways to get the Japanese dialogue be more authentic as possible. Like, they take a lot of care to tell the story very well, and it's you can tell the performances, the casting, all that.
I mean, it's being promoted everywhere.
Yeah.
No, whatever you watch, it is everywhere. I've seen that bow and arrow. I've seen that arrow go across that woman's face in slow motion 1,000 times.
Yeah. That hasn't been in the show yet either.
No, well, I've seen it enough to know when.
Yeah. Yeah, that's number two. And number three, I'm checking out Constellation on Apple TV. It's some sort of it's like a twisty sort of like time like multiple timeline kind of deal with like a astronaut who's like on the International Space Station. Basically, they're doing experiments. All of a sudden, she's ending up like basically her mind's really flipping between different like alternate timelines. It's well acted, but it's very trippy. And sometimes I think they assume too much of the audience in terms of trying to do too much with keeping track of different things.
Okay, I have not heard of this one. So this one is all you. I've never even heard of the show existence.
Yeah. I would say of the three, definitely Shogun's the highest recommendation.
I mean, I think that's one of those. And now how much of it is in subtitles? Is it all in Japanese?
I would say about 3/4 Japanese.
Okay. I mean, that's one of those shows you gotta sit down and pay attention to. You can't half-ass viewing that show.
Yeah, because they have some like English speaking characters in the show, but for the most part, it's Japanese.
Got it.
All right, so that's what we got here for you this week. Stanko, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. If you want to follow you on social media and check out that blog for all your movie thoughts, I'm going to do that.
Well, you can follow me on social media at jstanko99 there on all platforms, posting whatever I watch and whatever I write. My word vomit. um, and then my blog, stankosstance.com. Post something every day, going on 700 straight days. Not all of it's A+ material, but there's something there every single day for you to chew on. So stankosstance.com.